we're here in Oxford and we're going to be picking over today's excavation spoils with Carenza Lewis. How are you doing? All right?
Fine, yep, good.
Good. We're here in beautiful Oxfordshire. It's the start of day one. And we just thought we'd catch up with you, ask you some questions from the fantastic Patreon supporters, and just find out how it's all going. I guess first port of call, how was it last week in Cornwall? And was it good to be back? How did it all feel?
Very strange, to be absolutely honest. It was kind of all very. It's been so long since I've done it. So it's 15 years since I've been involved with Time Team, and so it's like going back to something you did a long, long time ago. But everyone's still there. But it's all completely different as well. So it was strange, but good. I mean, it was nice and great archaeology, and we found some really interesting things and made a bit of sense of something.
Yeah, I was going to say, did you feel like we found what we were expecting to find, or did you feel like we answered some of the questions we were hoping to answer?
I don't think we found what we were expecting to find, but I think we answered some. We answered some of the questions. So.
Oh, no, that's great, and. I guess it's amazing that Time Team's back after such a long time, and it's been made possible through all the fantastic supporters on Patreon.
One thing I've noticed about all of the patrons is their enthusiasm for the process of archaeology is so strong, and a lot of them are already asking, will the reports be available? So I think that there is support for that.
That's really good. I was suggesting we should have the report as it's being written on a OneDrive
like
somewhere,
a live document.
so people can actually. I mean, obviously we want people to be able to edit it, but actually so they can see it taking shape.
Yeah, see how
and
it
those bits where clearly aren't finished, and I think that'd be a really interesting process.
Derek to write up 3D scanning ...
Well, it's sort of date of such and such, and idea of such, all those notes and stuff. I think that would be great, and keep people interested in making sure that the money is there to do that.
Yeah, superb. And they're such a supportive bunch. I don't know if you've seen any of the comments on Patreon.
I haven't had time, unfortunately.
Lawrence and I, it's fair to say we've invested more time than we possibly should reading comments. But
that sounds like it's a pleasant experience.
It genuinely is a pleasant experience, and there's so much support and so much love for the original crew, the new guys, everyone really. It's been incredible to see, and seeing it kind of unfold in real time on Patreon is quite exciting. It's been a joy of the last couple of weeks, I think.
Yeah, I guess on that note, we've been asking them to send in questions specifically for you guys when we do these chats. So I don't know if you've got a few there.
Yeah. So I'm not just being rude and texting people while we chat. I've got some
Patreon
Patreon questions in front of me. So I'm going to start with the top question on my list from Carl J, because it's a really good question, and it came about when he was watching Digger Cam on Patreon, which was when we strapped a GoPro onto someone's head and filmed them digging for 10 minutes. How and why does a digger know when to go from a pickaxe to a trowel?
Oh, right. Well, mostly a digger wouldn't be using a pickaxe; they'd be using a mattock, of course. So a mattock has a flat blade, whereas a pickaxe has a pointed one. So a pickaxe is a point because you're trying to get through something really hard and solid. A mattock is it's almost more like a plough blade. It's just for scraping the soil back more. The answer to the question about how you go from a heavy piece of equipment to a delicate one, it's about the feel. So generally when you're mattocking, you're trying to get a bulk amount of something either off the surface or out of a cut feature. You can feel by the sound of it or the texture of it, the sense of it, when something changes, and if something starts to change, that's generally when you stop and have a closer look. Sometimes I've got a lot of trenches where you just sort of open up with a mechanical digger, you use mattocks or hose to clean across the surface, and then you can see where your features are. If it's a big ditch, you'll mattock into that to take the fill out. On the other hand, if you see something like a post hole, you'll then use a trowel on that.
I suppose size-wise, the width of the mattock and the width of the trowel are pretty comparable, aren't they? So it's a big, heavy trowel.
Well, I occasionally get asked what is my one piece of equipment that I would take with me to a desert island, and it would be a mattock. Because actually a mattock, you can do the heavy digging and get a load of stuff moved. You can actually be really delicate with it. You can just literally scrape it off. It can be almost as delicate as a trowel, really. And then you can use it to backfill the pit and tamp the soil down afterwards.
The perfect tool for a desert island retreat.
I reckon.
We've got a great question from Matthew Adams, a bit of a behind-the-scenes-y question, which is quite good for our Patreon stuff. What is the most unexpected non-archaeological challenge of the dig? Unexpected non-archaeological challenge.
Other than me and Derek.
Other than having to do this.
Most unexpected non-archaeological challenge. Do you think he means of this dig in particular, or the new way of doing Time Team?
I'd say all of them.
Yeah.
In terms of Time Team generally, as an archaeologist, is there anything that you think, I don't know about these facilities or the
access to sites?
Yeah.
I suppose access to sites is something you'd predict. I think we were all a bit surprised by the loos last time round, which are filled with sawdust. Nothing else.
You haven't seen them yet then here.
Are they the same again?
Yeah.
No, it's the same sawdust.
Same toilets, I think.
Not reused.
The unexpected challenge, I guess, weather is the thing that always plays a factor. And I think particularly with Time Team as we're doing it at the moment, it's kind of working out what resources we've got, both how many diggers we've got, who we can put where. And there's always that sort of challenge of kind of making sure everyone knows what's going on when we're on a big site and a lot of things are going on at the same time. So it's keeping on top of everything, all the different small activities being part of the bigger whole of making sure that actually we've dug the trenches we need to do to answer the questions. And then it's the unexpected stuff that turns up. But that's an archaeological thing.
That's a joy,
so that's outside the question, really.
I think in terms of the archaeology, expecting the unexpected is the best thing we can all do.
Time Team is back. The iconic Shaw returns to film 2 brand new excavations, a huge Roman villa in Oxfordshire and an Iron Age settlement in Cornwall with underground tunnels known locally as the Fugu. We've already taken you behind the scenes here and on Patreon, and the programmes are currently in post-production, coming to this channel in spring. So please subscribe to this channel and press the notification bell to ensure you catch up with all the latest updates.
A lovely comment phrased as a question from Steve Merck. I wonder if the Time Team cast and crew know just how important they and Time Team has been to a whole host of people, especially during these difficult times. That's a really nice comment, and we should address the re-rise of Time Team. I think has been a bit of a phenomenon of lockdown, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, I'm really aware of that because I'm on Twitter, and so get a lot of comments from people, and it was really noticeable during lockdown, especially last year in 2020. The number of people who were saying, they were binge watching old episodes of Time Team, and how much it was helping them. Actually, in that sense that they were kind of, just helping them get through lockdown. And for years, I've seen comments of people who would, even before we started this kind of revival of Time Team, so when it had been off air for a long time, who would say that it really helped them with their mental health, helped them through really difficult times, that they'd felt part of the team because they see us having chats and they get involved in that process, and you see that on screen, that they'd got invested emotionally in the process of discovery, so had got the sort of positive buzz that comes from, when something does turn up. And so I think it's been so important for helping people, and people just watch the whole lot, and there's hundreds of them.
It's so good.
Through, and then they'll watch them again.
And there is a very clear link, we see it in research projects, between archaeology and improved mental health, isn't there? Stuff like Project Nightingale, and I've got a PhD student looking at craft, experimental archaeology, and positive mental health, social prescription.
Yeah, I've done a couple of projects recently on that. One with Historic England, looking at wellbeing in volunteers, and we can see a range of sort of areas, particular sorts of activity, which are associated with wellbeing. So we did interviews with 35 people, up to an hour each, and then we coded all the data and looked at the themes that emerged from that. And it was around identity and being able to express the person you are, about self-fulfillment and doing something you'd always wanted to do, about being with other people, but being with like-minded people. So it picks up all those sort of well-being things, which are about being physically active, connecting with others, making a contribution, those sorts of things. And then I've got another project which is sort of introducing participation in archaeology in Europe. So in the Netherlands, Czech Republic and Poland. And we did sort of pre and post surveys looking at a whole load of sort of emotional states, if you like, so statements that people could say whether they strongly agreed or not with them. And that showed a real difference in things like place attachment, community support, how much they felt they were getting from their community, community trust, life satisfaction, just from taking part in archaeology.
So the message is get involved in archaeology.
It's second best, watch it on screen.
Oh, second best.
Because something like Time Team, you can get invested. And actually with the Patreon thing, you can even make a contribution. And you can vote in polls and things like that.
Part of it. And that's what we're trying to deliver as well.
It's more two-way, and it was never, we couldn't be like that before because we didn't have the technology. I mean, I left Time Team in 2005. Technology was absolutely critical to Time Team ever being possible to start, because the thing that made it possible really for us to initially be doing geophysics and analysing it on site, seeing it on site, and then being able to put a trench in without taking all the data back to the university and having a look at it, was the fact that we had portable equipment, portable computers, portable screens. We could do that processing on site, and without that, Time Team would never really have got started. And since then, of course, it's just built and built, because particularly the geophysics equipment has got better and better and more portable, and we've got new methods, so things like LiDAR coming in. We can see, for this site, we can see features showing on the LiDAR, the kind of laser survey from the sky, as it were, that show really tiny variations in height that are picking out features that you can't see from the ground, even if you've got an aerial photograph under really low sunlight. So that technology is changing all the time.
To ensure you catch all the latest updates, please do subscribe to this channel, follow us on social media, sign up to our newsletter, and join us on Patreon.